Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now, your #1 source for tips, tricks, and everything you need to know for Fantasy Premier League football. Today, we're going to be doing an updated wildcard draft for Game Week 13. So if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below. Leave a comment, who are you transferring in and out this week? Subscribe if you're brand new. Thank you so much for 800 subscribers. We're so close to 1,000 now. With all of that out of the way though, let's get into the video, and I really hope that you enjoy. So, an updated wildcard draft this week. We're doing it because there's been so many injuries, players coming back over the course of the week. You got players like Jota who's back. You got players like Rafinha who was pictured in training, so he's most likely going to be back. Chilwell seems to be out with an ACL injury, which is really unfortunate. Really hope he recovers soon. Just not even from an FPL perspective, but he was having such a good season, so I feel really bad for the guy. We've also got the likes of Foden, who might be a doubt as well. Lack of match fitness, apparently. A lot of things are happening in the FPL world at the moment, so we're doing an updated wildcard draft because, like I say, a lot of things have changed. But in goal we have Foster and Ramsdale. Foster, again, just that backup keeper, has been getting returns every week now. We got the penalty save a couple weeks ago, got the assist against United last week. But he has Leicester coming up next, then Chelsea, then City. You're not going to be playing him, obviously, in these fixtures because, I mean, Watford haven't kept a clean sheet all season anyway. But yeah, it's not going to be getting better with the likes of Chelsea and City on the horizon. But then he has Brentford, Burnley, Crystal Palace. I mean, like I say, you play him when your main keeper is playing like a Liverpool or a Man City or someone like that. But your main keeper for this draft is Ramsdale. Again, you could go with the likes of Gaeta. Crystal Palace have some nice fixtures coming up, could save you a little bit more money. I think 0.2. I think he's 4.6 mil, so yeah, would save you 0.2 because Ramsdale is now 4.8. Could go with Sanchez. He's back now. He's not got that red card problem anymore, so yeah, he's back. But yeah, Ramsdale has some nice fixtures coming up. I think out of all the cheap keepers, Ramsdale does have the best fixtures coming up. He's got Newcastle at home this weekend, then he has United away, then Everton, Southampton, West Ham, then he has Leeds, Norwich, Wolves. Like, he's got some really nice fixtures coming up, and he's also been playing out of his skin. He's in top form. We all saw that save against Maddison's free kick. So yeah, really happy for the guy that he's having such a standout season. He's obviously put Leno to the bench, and for good reason. Like I say, he's having a really good season. So those are the two keepers, but like you say, you could mix and match. Could go with a Gaeta, you could go with a Sanchez instead of Ramsdale. I just personally think that Ramsdale has the best fixtures coming up. Then coming in at the back, we have to change things because in my wildcard draft at the start of the week, I had Chilwell at the back line, but again, he most likely is going to be out with an ACL injury. I think on FPL he's actually gone down to, yeah, he's gone down to a 25% chance of playing, but that's just kind of what's going around, that it is an ACL injury, which obviously could leave him out for a while, which again is really unfortunate for the guy. I feel really bad for him, but of course you're not going to be putting him in your FPL team anytime soon if he is out with an ACL injury. So instead of Chilwell, we are bringing in Rudiger. Rudiger is just another nailed player. You could bring in the likes of Alonso. The only reason that I'm not 100% convinced by Alonso is because during that Champions League game where Chilwell did come off with the injury, Alonso didn't come on to replace him. He was on the bench, but he didn't come on. Azpilicueta came on. So does that mean that he's going to change things around? I don't know. Like, it's likely that he's going to play Alonso because he is the second choice left back, and obviously Chilwell being out as long as he is, you would think that Alonso is right there. And Alonso, I think, is only like 5.5 mil as well. He's gone down quite a bit. He's actually 5.6 mil, should I say. But yeah, you could go with Alonso instead of Rudiger. It's just we haven't really seen anything, and if you're on a wildcard draft, you don't want to bring in Alonso. He doesn't play, and then you're kind of stuck with having to transfer him out. So I would go with Rudiger just because he is nailed. Again, he's having a lot of shots in the box off corners and stuff like that. And like the perfect situation would be a Reece James corner onto a Rudiger header onto a goal. That gives you a big fat clean sheet with Reece James, big fat goal with Rudiger. So yeah, really cool stuff there. So for the Chelsea players, we do have Rudiger and James. Again, their fixtures coming up could be a little bit better, but it's Chelsea. Like, they're the best defense in the league. They've barely conceded any goals. Got United next week, but then they've got, well, this weekend, and they've got Watford next week. I mean, that is just such a nice game to target. Like, you want all the Chelsea players for that game. Then West Ham, which is a tough one, but then Leeds, Everton, Wolves, Villa, Brighton. Like, this is just such a nice run of fixtures. I could see clean sheet throughout all of these games, really. Liverpool and City back-to-back isn't great, but with how good Chelsea are playing at the moment, like, anything could happen in those games. So yeah, they're the two Chelsea players on this wildcard draft, but instead of Rudiger, you could go for Alonso if you really wanted to risk it. You could also go for Reguilon as well to save you a little bit of money. Reguilon has some nice fixtures coming up. He's getting really forward under Conte. He looks really promising, but I like having double Chelsea defense just simply because they're just such a good defense in the league right now. We've got Trent as well. Trent again has a really nice run of fixtures coming up. We actually have 3 Liverpool assets in this draft, but Southampton at home, Everton away. I know it's a derby, but just look what Liverpool did to United in that derby. Then they've got Wolves, Villa, Newcastle, Tottenham, Leeds, Leicester, Chelsea, then Brentford, Crystal Palace, Leicester, Burnley, Norwich. Like that is like Norwich at home is, you want all the Liverpool players for that game. I know it's not for a while yet, but that's the perfect fixture for Liverpool. So yeah, we've got Trent as well. We've also got Livramento, again, just bench fodder. He's really nice to have. If you brought him in early, like, just keep him. Like, he doesn't have the best fixtures coming up, but he's just a guaranteed player to come off on the bench. He does get forward quite a bit. He has scored so far this season. He got an assist with a penalty, which was nice against Chelsea or City or someone like that. And then finishing the back line off, we have Cancelo. This is a 4-4-2 formation, by the way, if that wasn't obvious because of the 4.4 mil striker. But yeah, I've gone with a 4-4-2 formation, and I'll explain why later. But yeah, Cancelo is another option. Again, quite a tough fixture coming up this week against West Ham, but then you'll have him for Villa, Watford, Wolves, Leeds, Newcastle. Like, hopefully he should play over the Christmas period quite a bit as well, because taking Cancelo out of the team is really, it's an interesting choice because Zinchenko, Walker, they can't do what Cancelo can do. And Cancelo can play on both wing back as well. He pushes so forward. Saw how good he was in the Champions League midweek and how good he was last week with that outside of the foot assist. Ridiculous player. So yeah, that is the back line. Again, really expensive, but they are just the best players to have at the back, in my opinion, as of right now. Well, it would have been Chilwell instead of Rudiger, but you know, he's out at the moment, so we can't really do anything about that. But yeah, that's your back line, which obviously you'd be benching Livramento every week. In the midfield, we have Gallagher, Rafinha, Salah, and Jota. Jota now confirmed to be back. He was on the bench in the Champions League midweek. I'm not sure why Jota was on the bench and he played Salah and Mane when he played such a weakened side, because he didn't even play like Van Dijk or Trent or Robertson or anyone like that. He played a really weakened side, but he still played Salah and Mane. But they won anyway, 2-0. It could have been a lot more. They got a few offside goals. But yeah, you've got Jota and Salah. Again, Jota now, you know, he's playing whilst Firmino's out. You know, he's got Southampton, Everton, Wolves, Villa, and even when Firmino is back, you've got Salah and Mane going off to the Africa Cup of Nations. So Klopp will have to play Jota up front with like the likes of Firmino. Might even have to play Origi, probably play Oxlade-Chamberlain. But yeah, Jota is going to start every single game for the foreseeable future because of Firmino's injury and the Africa Cup of Nations. So you could have gone with maybe Foden on this draft, but because he is like a doubt at the moment, I would much rather go for Jota. Plus, there is going to be rotation risk around Christmas, whereas Klopp really can't afford to do that because of the Africa Cup of Nations and everything like that. So yeah, Jota I think is a really good pick at the moment. He's only 7.5 mil, really good option to bring in. We've got Rafinha as well. He is still flagged, but he was pictured in training with Bamford as well. And Rafinha has Brighton, then Crystal Palace, then Brentford. So some nice fixtures coming up. You'd probably want to get rid of him around the Chelsea, City, Arsenal, Liverpool run, which is really bad for Leeds. Leeds could actually have a struggling season if they don't get many points from these fixtures here. Like, they're not going to really get anything from there. I highly doubt anyway. So yeah, they could be like in a relegation battle if they don't sort it out. Obviously with Bamford coming back though, it is a massive boost. But yeah, Rafinha I think is a really nice option. And then when he does have those terrible fixtures coming up, you could downgrade him to a Smith Rowe or to an Mbumo or someone like that if you really wanted to. Because he is 6.6 mil, he gives you that option. And then we have Gallagher as well, 6 mil. Again, Crystal Palace have some nice fixtures coming up. Villa, Leeds, United, Everton, Southampton, Watford, Tottenham, Norwich. And Gallagher, just a really nice option right now. Really cheap. He's just getting return after return after return. Just a really nice player to have in your team. Again, the midfield is quite cheap, but you know, I think it's a really solid midfield. Like, you could have the likes of Son instead, which would mean you'd have to take out one of the defense. But I just think not having these defenders just hurts you every single week. Like, I've not had James or Cancelo this season yet. I will be bringing them in very soon when I can. But not having them is hurting me every single week. I got lucky last week with the Rudiger goal, but that's not going to happen every single week. Luckily, James and Cancelo have quite tough fixtures this week with United and West Ham. So hopefully they don't do as well this week. But then when they've got the likes of Watford and Villa, Leeds coming up, like, you're going to want to jump on these players. So I don't think having Son instead of like these players is really worth it, especially if Son blanks again this weekend. Like, a lot of people will be getting rid of him. And then up front, we have Jimenez and Vardy. So, again, Jimenez is here for the next 2 fixtures. I would not bring Jimenez on a free transfer, just because if you do, you're only going to really want him for Norwich and Burnley, and then he's got Liverpool, City, Brighton, Chelsea. Whereas if you have him on your wild card, you can just transfer him out around game week 15, and you could go down to the likes of a Tony. You could bring in Antonio if you really wanted to. It's just because Jimenez has such nice fixtures over the next couple of game weeks. So Jimenez is there. Again, we just have a 4.4 mil striker. It is a 4-4-2 formation. Because of the bench options of Brownhill and Livramento, you don't really need to have another bench option unless you've still got your bench boost and stuff and you're really wanting to play that. But yeah, I mean, Brownhill plays every game. Livramento plays every game. They don't do a lot. Like, Brownhill doesn't, pretty much the 2-point king. And then Livramento, you know, is probably going to get 2 points over the next few fixtures. But again, if he doesn't play, then you could bring him on. You do have 1.8 mil in the bank for this, so you could, if you really wanted to do strengthen your bench, like you could take out the Brighton striker, which would give you 6.2, and you could bring in the likes of Josh King for Watford, who is another striker, give you 0.6 mil in the bank, and King does play pretty much every single week for Watford. But again, their fixtures aren't great coming up. But I mean, you could play him around those fixtures there. But the only reason that I'm not playing Josh King and I'm going for a smaller, a cheaper striker, is because with Vardy, you have Watford, Southampton, Villa, Newcastle. But if you really wanted to, like, you don't want to bring Vardy and you're not a fan of him, you got 1.8 mil in the bank. So you could get rid of Vardy. You could bring in the likes of Kane. If you really wanted that Spurs asset, you still got 0.2 in the bank. He's only 12.2 at the moment. And then obviously has some really nice fixtures coming up. Again, he's not really been in form at the moment, but if you do trust the fixture run coming up, like Burnley, Brentford, Norwich, Brighton, Leicester, it only takes one game where he gets like 2 goals against Burnley or Brentford, and everyone will be bringing him in again. But yeah, if you do want him like for this really, really nice fixture run, like he's got Liverpool, which is the toughest fixture out of all of those up until game week 23, which is obviously the London derby. But yeah, I think you could go with Kane if you really wanted to, or you have another option of Ronaldo, which you can just fit in onto this team. Again, doesn't have a great fixture coming up this week against Chelsea, but then after that he has Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Norwich, Brentford, Brighton, Newcastle, Burnley, Wolves and Villa. So if you really wanted to, you could bring in Ronaldo as well, which is just enough money. Again, if you haven't already brought in Livramento, you might have to downgrade him to a Johnson or someone like that for West Ham. But again, he's not like 100% nailed. But that's kind of the wildcard draft I would go with. I'm just going with Vardy instead, because it does give you a bit of money to mess around with. If you do have like an injury anywhere else, you have 1.8 mil to sort him out. So you could even get rid of Jota for, I don't know, Foden when he's back if you really wanted to. You could upgrade Jimenez when he's got like a bad fixture, 9.4, like, I mean, 9.4 strikers. You could bring in the likes of Jesus. I think he's cheaper. Yeah, Jesus is only 8.7, so you could bring in him. It is up to you. So yeah, that's why I quite like having that kind of money in the bank. But that is going to be my wildcard draft for game week 13, my updated wildcard draft, should I say. So if you enjoyed the video, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're brand new. That's everything from me. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and until next time, peace.